Hello, everybody. What is good? Juliana Page here. I'm going to share a word with you about really finding your new rhythm. I know that in the time and season that we are, it's 2020, we're in the middle of a pandemic, and it's challenging everything about a person. It's challenging how you're wired. It's challenging how you think. It's challenging every area of your life and how you show up, really. So this idea of a new rhythm sounds like a new normal, and to some degree it is, but it is a major key in getting to you 2.0, or this future version of you that you sometimes see, but you mostly don't believe is attainable because of what you see most of the time, what you're challenged with, what you're distracted by, emotions, thoughts, things that have become your comfort, right? So, for example, if chaos is something that you're used to, you'll create it when it's not around because it's what you're used to. So, for example, I was talking with a client today, and we were talking about how she made the decision to continue living with her husband, even though they are walking through a separation. And there's many layers to this, but there's addiction, there's alcoholism, there's a lot of things going on that are making the divorce something that she has decided on. Okay? She's made a decision, meaning there's no turning back. However, she has also decided that she's going to be living in the same home that they share together. So, in order for her to have a new normal while she's still living in very much her normal, how do you bridge that gap? How do you go into this promised place that you know is out ahead of you? How do you become the person ready for that place? How do you take care of yourself? How do you set boundaries? So I was sharing some things to help her find structure. I was finding out currently, is she a morning person? What time does she get up? Is she working from home right now? What are her work hours? Does she have an evening routine or a time that she's got to literally hit the pillow by or else? What does that look like? Because just having an idea of what your schedule looks like starts to give you a framework to build some structures that you can have accountability and some stability in the midst of otherwise chaos, okay? So once we laid the groundwork for her, we discovered that she's a morning person, and she has about 4 hours before she's actually got to start going into work mode that she could develop a morning routine. Okay, so she got 4 hours in the morning that she can block just for her. And these are crucial, and I'll talk about this in a minute. Then she's got her work hours. Then in the evening, she's got about another 2 that she can dedicate to her. And these are basically windows that exclude being a mom, serving, doing these other things that are going on in her life, okay? So a major thing that was important to her was to sandwich her day with a morning routine and an evening routine so that she has a check and balance really for her to assess, how am I doing? What do I need? Where do I need to make some adjustments? Then in the middle, the meat, she can be doing ministry. She can be ministering. She can be on the mission and serving and doing what she's here to do in the middle, right? But these 2 buffers at least help her to take care of herself. So in these buffers, I have something called the daily 5. You can put your own spin on this, but this is something that I encourage her to do. And I'm going to get to the piece that's most important. They're all important, but the one that's most important when it comes to finding a new rhythm, okay? So the 5 things are, number 1, and I happen to be one of those people that needs to fill my own cup first before I can be out filling others, right? And pouring into other people. So I start with personal development. That can look different, but usually I recommend not just listening to something or not just watching something where you can zone out, particularly if it's early, because then you'll just fall back asleep. So it's got to be something where you're engaged, whether you're reading and highlighting, whether you're journaling, whatever that is. I recommend something that requires your attention and your focus to the next level, because when you're reading, you have to pay attention in order to process what you're reading. And when you're writing, same thing. You really have to pay attention to what you're writing. So my Usual personal development of choice is getting in the word and prayer, but I also find books and resources on areas that I'm interested in that I want to grow and develop. So for example, in her case, if she's looking for ways to transform or ways to redefine who she is, there's a lot of great tools and resources that she could be studying how to do that effectively, right? She could be studying on boundaries. She could be studying on communication. She could be studying on emotional intelligence, right? There could be many things in this example too of what she could do for personal development. Now, the time, you can start anywhere. I recommend just starting, but I would say anywhere from 15 minutes to even 2 hours, depending on what it is that you need, okay? Then from there, I say push play, but I do at-home workouts. I really just do workouts anywhere that I am. So if a workout can come with me, I love that. And workouts that'll challenge me, workouts that I can't anticipate what's gonna happen next, because otherwise I'll cut corners in a workout if I can figure it out. So workouts that challenge me, that are usually quick and get the work done, I like those, right? So personal development, pushing play on a workout, making sure that I'm moving my body. Now, you can always stack on these things too. So for example, you can go for a walk on your lunch hour. You can do an evening walk. You can work out again if you need to, but you can always build on the areas that might need a little more work, and depending on what your goals are. Then I always say sowing and serving. Sowing and serving, because it's so important to be pouring into other people and really serving, right? Life is just better when you're serving. So being very intentional about what it is that I'm sowing and how I'm actually serving, and being clear on how I assess that. Then getting optimum nutrition into my body. I enjoy drinking shakes and smoothies, so I make sure that I get nutrients in that way, but I also make sure that I'm eating clean and getting really good nutrition in my body. The way I do that is eating closer to the source, right? It's usually the perimeter of a grocery store, using things that usually aren't full of caffeine, starches, sugar, all of that, right? So eating as clean as possible, drinking a ton of water. And then number 5 is gratitude. And this, my friends, is where I'm going to share how to get your new rhythm. So practicing gratitude every day makes that your comfort zone. It makes that your item that you're focusing on. Okay. So for example, I'm not talking just make a gratitude list. I'm grateful that I woke up today. I'm grateful that I have a car that works well. I'm grateful that I have good food in my system. Yes, those all matter, but that is very temporary. Okay. So when you're actually practicing gratitude, what I recommend doing is getting out a phone, setting a timer for 20 minutes at least, and giving yourself an experiment of thinking through 3 times where you experienced gratitude on a whole nother level. So this could be from your youth, and you just remember what it felt like to feel so grateful. You could feel relieved, you could feel excited, you could feel surprised in a good way, but really think about that moment. Think about, where were you? Who were you with? What happened? How did that make you feel? What were you aware of? Were you outside? Were you inside? What were you seeing? What were you sensing? Just live out that moment and experience that gratitude all over again. It could be something that you're grateful for right now. Maybe something new happened to you. Maybe you're in a really amazing relationship that, because of your story, was probably not supposed to be your story. Maybe it's even something that you're looking forward to. It could be a future event too, and the vision of that, you're so grateful that you can see that, because maybe you weren't a person that could dream and vision beyond where you are, right? But spending time thinking about at least 3 things that activate gratitude. And I want to talk about the word activate really quick. So activate literally means to make something active or operative, okay? To convert a substance into a reactive form, okay? So think about this. We are activating thoughts. We are activating emotions. We are activating feelings. We are activating words. We are activating life or death with our words. We are active all day. And we are activating things all day when we're awake, okay? So when you think about that, what are you activating? And to give you this sense, your normal is what you activate most often, and it's what you come back to a majority of the time. So if you're activating anger, if you're activating frustration, if you're activating stress, if you're activating overwhelm, if you're activating despair, if you're activating frustration, if you're activating doubt, fear, worry, unbelief, anxiety, you're activating these things, okay? And once they're activated, we start partnering with them. We come into agreement with them, and then we experience them. Then they get a strong hold on us. And then sure enough, that becomes comfortable. We know what it's like to be in total chaos all the time. We know what it's like to be anxious. We know what it's like to feel hopeless and frustrated. We know what it's like to feel powerless. And we know what it's like to talk about it all the time and phone a friend and talk to our friend about why we're so stuck right now and why we're so frustrated, right? Like that becomes normal, and that becomes an emotional home in a way, right? That's what we return to. That's what we're familiar with. And here's the thing, because it's your rhythm, it's how you've patterned yourself. It's how you've wired yourself based on what you've activated or allowed to remain active, right? Because that is normal for you. If something is not happening that is causing that experience, we create it. And we create it by getting suspicious. We create it by second guessing. We create it by overanalyzing. We create it by bulldozing to something that we can be stressed about. We create it. So this is why this is so, so important. You need to create a new rhythm that is your new home, okay? When a home has served its purpose, you know that season is over, it's time to sell it, right? And move into something new. However, we know if we don't do the work to eliminate, to heal, to change, to transform whatever was going wrong in this home, we're going to bring it right with us and build it in this new home. We'll have a new home, but we'll still bring the stuff, right? And how many of you know having old stuff in a new home? Like the worst, right? Like you want to redecorate, you want to change it up a bit. You might want like a modern chic look. You might want something different versus hand-me-downs and antiques, okay? Like that fit that home, but maybe not this one. Feel me? Same thing with you. When you go to a new home, you need a new thought life. You need to experience emotions that fit this home, right? You need to literally bring a different version of you in order to sustain this new level, this new place, okay? So what does it feel like to be at peace? What does that feel like? What does it feel to be joyful for no reason? Can you see how your strength, the joy of the Lord is actually your strength? Can you see how that's actually your strength versus stress? You have no power in stress. Gratitude. When you're grateful, it's interesting. But when you're grateful, don't you think about different things? Don't you pay attention and notice different things? Don't you get these awesome downloads and creativity just starts flowing again? Okay, so check this out. If you practice it, you'll start channeling, start activating a new rhythm, a new pattern. You'll start wiring yourself differently. So when stress, when chaos, when all these other things come up, you say, no, thank you, right? Been there before, seen that movie before. I know how that ends. I'm not going to partner with that. I'm not going to agree with that. I'm not going to tolerate activity like that in my body, right? I'm going to take every thought captive. Meaning, if it doesn't agree with the word of God, I'm casting it out of my mind, and I'm going to declare the truth so that my spirit tells my soul what to do. My mind, my will, my emotions come into agreement with my spirit when I tell them to, right? Or I'm going to discipline myself and build these daily habits into my life so that I'm in the habit and practice of telling my body what we're going to do within reason, right? This is not something where you push yourself to the max, okay? Especially if you have injuries and things you need to pay attention to. But you get where I'm coming from, right? Your body is always going to be like, I don't feel like it. Your mind's going to talk yourself out of it. But unless you get control over that, it's going to keep taking you back to old experiences. So to create a new one, you need new habits, you need new disciplines, you need new practices, you need new focus, you need new emotions activated. And starting with gratitude is amazing because you can't be grateful and angry at the same time. You can't be grateful and stressed at the same time. You can't be grateful and doubting God at the same time, okay? So when you start practicing that every day, you get really good at gratitude. Then what are you gonna start doing? You're gonna start focusing on it. You're gonna start going back to that. When you notice stress come up, you stop it and you go to gratitude. Yeah, but no, thank you. I'm gonna focus on this instead, okay? So my encouragement is, in order to embrace this new next level version of you, this new place of promise that is out ahead of you, you've got to practice a new rhythm. You've got to activate gratitude. You've got to activate the qualities, the experiences, the mindset, the belief, the faith, the emotion, the self-control, the discipline that's going to sustain you over here. Your old self can't go here, just like some people can't go here, right? And unless you rewire yourself, it's going to be so easy for you to go back. It's going to be so easy to settle for what is. It's going to be so easy to stay comfortable. Growth, change is always going to be uncomfortable because it's going to require that you step into the unknown, which is scary. So courage isn't denying that you have fear. Courage is acknowledging it and still moving forward. So it's going to take you being brave, you being bold, you being courageous, but that is what the word says. Be bold, be courageous, stand firm, right? Be still and know. There's a reason that you practice stillness. This is not a yoga thing, right? You're not manufacturing peace, you're returning to it and you're living from it, okay? So hopefully this is providing you some new wisdom, some practical wisdom that you can apply to your life. The homework, the assignment, the challenge would be make a list of all of the things. Just reflect on your week, the past 7 days. What have you been activating? What has been most active? What have you been feeling a majority of the time? Just do a scan. What have you been feeling throughout the past 7 days? Give it percentages too if you want, right? Now, in order to have all of that become the person over here that you see, or the person that can handle the promise that you know is out ahead of you, what do you need to have activated? What needs to go? What do you need to have activated? And what is your strategy or your plan to start activating these majority of the time? Do you need to hire a coach? Do you need to commit to a workout program? Do you need to eat better? Do you need to get more sleep? Do you need an accountability partner? Do you need a mentor? What is it that you've got to do to start developing this new rhythm to help keep you accountable to activating these new emotions, this new energy, this new vibe, okay? It's real hard work, actually. It's not a cute hashtag, it's work, okay? But it works if you work it. And you becoming the best version of you and actually self-actualizing, that means living out the fullness of your potential that's deep down here on the inside. You've got to work it out in every new season. That is worth it. You are the greatest investment that you'll ever have, but you've got to invest, which means you got to sacrifice. You got to sacrifice time, resource, energy, right? But it's worth it. And it works if you work it. All right, guys, I hope this blessed you. If you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, make sure that you do that. New videos come out a lot, so make sure I do them as inspired. So you want to make sure that you don't miss one. If this video served you, or if you can really think of a person that this would be great for, copy the link and share with a friend, all right? And for more information to help you on your journey, you can visit julianapage.com. There's a self-mastery course over there. There's books, there's strategy sessions, there's so many good things. Go check it out. All right, guys, until next time, stay blessed.